Hello everyone, and welcome back to AniMonolith's light novel summary series for Tensei Shitara Slime Ken. Picking up right after the last video, the scene shifted to another front. King Gazel remained committed to the original plan. Before him stretched a vast field soaked in blood, now dyed crimson. Around 100 figures stood there, members of the Empire's elite. Among them were Lieutenant Tatsuya Kondou, Footman, Tear, over 30 of Yuki's former allies, and nearly 50 Imperial guards protecting Kigali, who was now drenched in blood as she chanted a forbidden ritual beneath the blood rain. Gazel spotted Velgrind's split body, and was shaken to realize it was nearly indistinguishable from the real one. Still, the sight of Testarossa and her team throwing themselves into battle without fear reignited his resolve. Velgrind appeared focused on maintaining gravity collapse, and wasn't taking action at the moment. For now, the greatest threat was Kondou and the Imperial Intelligence Bureau agents. Gazel led his troops around the Crimson Pillar, emerging behind it to confront Kondou face to face. He tried to use thought reading on him, but failed. That alone was proof enough. Kondou was no ordinary man. At that moment, Gabil and the Hiryu arrived alongside the massive demon colossus, piloted by none other than Gadra. Like many others, Gadra was shocked to realize that the so-called Imperial Marshal was in fact Velgrind, the Scorched Dragon. Still, as someone loyal to the true protagonist, Gadra didn't hesitate. He charged forward to confront her. Gabil picked out his own opponent from among Kondou's allies. Gobua stayed behind, observing the situation. This time, Phobio, the Black Leopard Fang, joined Tempest's forces. If anyone remembers, Gobua once had a crush on Benimaru. Meanwhile, Phobio had a past with Albus. After Benimaru and Albus married, both Gobua and Phobio were heartbroken and even ended up drinking together to console each other. Now, on the battlefield, they were, chatting. Somehow it felt more like flirting than war. Amid the chaos of battle, all eyes gradually shifted to what would become the decisive clash of this front. The duel between King Gazel and Lieutenant Kondou. Both warriors drew their swords and assumed identical stances, a mirror image of each other. It wasn't a coincidence. Each immediately recognized that they were drawing from the same sword style. Gazel had learned the Oboro Ryu, or hazy lifestream style, from his master Hakuru. Although he had integrated some techniques of his own, the core of his swordplay remained faithful to that lineage. Hakuro, in turn, had inherited the style from his grandfather, Araki Byakuya, a mysterious swordsman who was said to come from another world. Even Gazel, a direct disciple, hadn't yet grasped the full depth of the style's secrets. What surprised him was that Kondou, an Imperial officer, was using a strikingly similar technique, which he called the Oboro Shinmei Ryu. When questioned, Kondou revealed that he, too, had learned it from someone directly connected to the original style. The younger brother of Araki Byakuya, who had founded a branch of the technique in another world to combat supernatural threats. In essence, Kondou had learned from a purer source than Gazel himself. This revelation caused both men to hesitate. Then something unexpected. Kondou smiled, a rare and unsettling expression on his normally emotionless face. "I have a proposal, King Gazel," he said. "Swear loyalty to His Majesty Rudra. If you do, I promise the Empire will not touch your kingdom." It was a generous offer, and for a king, the logical choice. Gazel considered it. The threat of Velgrind loomed. The battle's objective was vague. The enemy's strength, overwhelming. Surrender might be the only way to avoid senseless sacrifice. But Gazel had placed his faith in Rimuru, his brother in discipline. He believed Rimuru would succeed in turning the tide from the other side. So instead of laying down his sword, Gazel charged. The duel began in earnest. At first, the two warriors matched each other blow for blow. They exchanged techniques like Oboro Cheiten Gurai, Shippu Raiha, and Ryu Suizan, each countering the other's moves with impeccable form. But gradually, Kondou pulled ahead. Not only was he able to neutralize Gazel's champion's haki by matching its aura, he also displayed sword techniques that Gazel had never seen, proof of deeper mastery. Kondou then made an offhand remark. "Even I haven't learned every technique of the Oboro Shinmei Ryu. I wonder just how much that monster, Hakurao, truly understands about it." Though spoken without malice, the statement enraged Gazel. To him, it was a slight against his master. But before things escalated further, a calm voice cut through the tension. "Ho ho ho. King Gazel, if you lose your temper so easily on the battlefield, you're still far from a true master. Let me take over for a while. Watch and cool your head." It was Hakuro himself, arriving from the rear lines, stepping forward to face Kondou in Gazel's stead. Without a moment's hesitation, Hakuro and Kondou clashed, swords flashing in a deadly blur. Kondou struck with lightning speed, but Hakuro blocked it with ease, his celestial eye wide open. Once just a high-level skill, the celestial eye had now evolved beyond the realm of unique skills, allowing Hakuro to read even the fastest of strikes. Thanks to this, he could fight Kondou on even footing, if only for a while. As their blades collided again and again, questions started forming in Kondou's mind. How could a monster like Hakurao have mastered Oboro Shinmei Ryu, a sword style meant to slay monsters? Even more bizarre, Hakuru's grandfather had ties to the original founder of Oboro Shinmei Ryu. Fate had clearly taken a strange turn. Still, Hakuro slowly began to lose ground. He estimated that Kondou's raw physical power was at least 10 times greater than his own. A prolonged fight would only lead to defeat. At first, Kondou had treated this battle as a learning opportunity, a way to test techniques. But that curiosity had given way to killing intent. His strikes grew sharper, colder. It was time to end it. Then came the final clash. Kondou unleashed his ultimate sword technique. Baika Gokutotsu, Plum Blossom Fivefold Thrust, a rapid series of deadly stabs targeting 8 vital points with surgical precision. Hakuro responded with his own signature move, Yezakura Hakusen, Eightfold Cherry Blossom Slash, an elegant flurry of slashes as if blooming 8 petals to counter each thrust. Steel flashed, sparks flew, but Hakuro was overpowered. 5 of Kondou's piercing strikes shattered all 8 of Hakuru's slashes, even deflecting his final blow. Though Hakuru's technique may have been pure, the vast gap in physical ability made the difference. Kondou stood victorious. "I apologize for underestimating you," he said genuinely. "Tell me, what was your grandfather's name?" Hakuro replied, "Byakuya Araki. He was a master swordsman, though he passed long ago." Kondou nodded. If he were still alive and had reached the level of a saint, he might have been one of the strongest swordsmen in the world. There was no malice in his words. Though cold and ruthless, Kondou respected true warriors regardless of their race, even monsters. Hakuro then made one final request. "Will you retreat? This war has gone far enough." Kondou shook his head. "I'll guarantee your safety, but I cannot stop this war. It will end only when the Empire stands victorious, or is destroyed." It was a war of absolutes, but Hakuro had known this outcome from the start. His true goal wasn't to win. It was to show Gazel everything, to let his students see and study Kondou's techniques. And now, with Kondou having used even his secret moves, Gazel's chances of victory had gone up considerably. Hakuro's right arm was badly injured, damaged by Kai-infused attacks that even healing potions couldn't fix. The only way to recover was through self-purification using his demonic aura. But with no hint of defeat on his face, Hakuro turned to Gazel and asked, "Well then, King Gazel, has your head cooled off yet?" Gazel nodded. "It has. Watching you fight stirred something in me." "Ho ho ho. I had no plans to teach you more, but I suppose I can't say that now. I'll leave the rest to you. You can count on me." As Hakuro stepped down, bloodied but proud, Gazel took his place, ready to face Kondou once again, with new insight and determination burning in his eyes. The battle resumed, and this time, Gazel fought at full power. With a fierce cry, he summoned the Earth Spirit King and merged with it, achieving a perfect unification that amplified his strength to the level of an awakened demon lord, using his unique skill. Dictator, he channeled every ounce of that newfound energy into his sword. His mind, body, and will were in complete harmony. "I'll show you the true strength of a Sword King." Moving with godlike speed, Gazel charged Kondou, unleashing the strongest attack he had ever forged. But the strike never landed. Bang! A sharp crack rang out, and Gazel staggered. A bullet had pierced his side. Blood spilled from his mouth as he collapsed to his knees, stunned and gasping. From his right hand, Kondou lowered a smoking Nambu pistol. "Your pride as a swordsman," Gazel muttered through clenched teeth. Fury and shame twisted across his face. But Kondou only replied coldly, "I already told you, this isn't a game, I fight to win. Pride means nothing on the battlefield." The bullet wasn't ordinary, it was a curse bullet, infused with necrosis, a lethal effect born from Kondou's ultimate skill, Conviction King Sandalphon, a power he had awakened through his own will. It obliterated magic circuits, even capable of killing spirit beings. Gazel didn't lose because he was weak. He was one of the strongest beings alive, strong enough to take on a demon lord under the right circumstances. But against Kondou, someone who had crossed the threshold into ultimate skill territory, Gazel never stood a chance. Desperate, Gazel tried to rise. "This can't be, I won't let it end here." But his body wouldn't move. He was paralyzed not just by pain, but by the overwhelming presence of true power. Kondou stepped forward, voice devoid of emotion. "I won't kill you, not yet. You'll be detained, temporarily. Once my work is done, I'll release you." But this was only half the truth. Kondou didn't intend to merely capture Gazel. He planned to use the Dominion Bullet, a tool designed to enslave minds, just like he had done to Kigali. This wasn't mercy, it was strategy. Standing nearby, Hakuru could only watch in silence, bitter, helpless, and deeply aware that this battle had been lost before it even began. At this point, Kondou had won completely, and that's where today's video ends. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next AniMonolith recap.